Hello everyone, welcome back to Ronin's Den. My name's Eric, and we're continuing our companion series for our Advanced Dungeons & Dragons 2nd Edition Night Below campaign. And in this video, we're going to be looking at the final member of the Warrior subgroup of classes in the 2nd Edition Player's Handbook. And that class is the Ranger. Keep in mind, we are not going to be talking about the lore of these characters. We're simply looking at the mechanics. What do you need to qualify for this class? What are the benefits of choosing this class? And are there any hindrances should you choose this class? Are there any restrictions? That's what we're focusing on in this video. And the Ranger does have ability score requirements that you need to meet in order to qualify for this class. Starting off with a minimum of a 13 strength, a 13 dexterity, a 14 constitution, and a 14 wisdom. The prime requisites for this class are strength, dexterity, and wisdom. What does that mean if you've not seen any of the other videos up to this point? So what that plays out as, if you have a 16 or higher in strength, dexterity, and wisdom, you have to have it for all three of these abilities, you get an additional 10% experience when the Dungeon Master gives you your share of the experience for the session. Just add 10% to that total. It helps you level quicker. So if you are able to put 16 in those three stats, you really should. In 2nd edition, certain classes also have species requirements, or they bar certain members of species from joining them. When it comes to a ranger, you may only be a human, elf, or half-elf. You cannot be a dwarf. Rangers also gain experience from the warrior experience chart and share a column with the paladin. So they need to, in order to get to level 2, they need to get a total of 2250, whereas a fighter would need 2000. So just a little bit more than a fighter to level up. Just like a fighter and a paladin, they also get a d10 when figuring out their hit points. So at level 1, roll a d10, add your constitution bonus, which brings us to Rangers qualifying for the exceptional constitution hit point adjustment. So what that means is if you go back and watch our video on the 6 attributes, you'll see that when we get to constitution, there's the hit point adjustment column on the chart for constitution. And at a certain point, it says +2, and then in parentheses next to it, there's a number that's higher than 2. +3, +4, sometimes more. That's your exceptional constitution hit point adjustment that only members of the warrior group qualify for. So if you see +2, parentheses +3, that means a wizard would get +2, but a ranger would get +3. Being members of the warrior group, the ranger also qualifies for exceptional strength should they have an 18 in that attribute. You do that as per normal. You roll a d100, you take that total and write it down next to the 18. So it's possible to have an 1801 all the way up to the much coveted 18100 strength. This is just going to give you better chance to hit with the hit probability adjustment for melee weapons and have you push out more damage when using melee weapons as well. It'll also give you more carrying ability, a better bend bars, lift gates, that type of thing too. All the neat, fun, happy stuff that goes along with having a high strength score. Being members of the warrior group, rangers also get the benefits of the higher attacks per melee. Remember in 2nd edition the way the action economy works. You get 1 action per round. Period. End of story. Full stop. Unless you are a member of the warrior group, where you get additional attacks per melee based on a high level, or you're under the influence of some magical spells. But rangers, being warriors, are always going to be able to do more attacks per melee than a thief or a wizard or a cleric. Starting at level 1 through 6, they get 1 attack per round. 7 through 12, 3 attacks every 2 rounds. Remember how that works is you get to do 1 attack the first round, 2 attacks the second round, and you would just alternate that until the combat is concluded. And then from 13 and up, they get 2 attacks per round. Being members of the warrior group, Rangers use the warrior column for their weapon proficiencies and their non-weapon proficiencies. Rangers can use any weapon and wear any armor. Now remember, armor is not something you need to be proficient with in 2nd edition. You just need to be able to use it as per your class. Weapon proficiencies in 2nd edition are specific, though. Keep that in mind. It's not you're going to take simple weapons or you're going to take martial weapons. Your weapon proficiency is going to be longsword. It's going to be short sword. It's going to be dagger. It's going to be longbow. You are going to select proficiency in one specific weapon per slot. Now, Rangers do not qualify for weapon specialization. That is a fighter-only benefit. Being a member of the Ranger class, you're also going to get some other neat, fun, happy abilities. Let's start off with the first one, which is 2-weapon fighting. Now, most of these abilities are going to require you to be wearing studded leather or lighter armor. So yes, your Ranger can wear plate mail, but it might not always be the best decision to do so. When wearing studded leather or lighter, the Ranger is able to fight with 2 weapons without a penalty. So we haven't covered 2-weapon fighting yet. The way that works is you can have 1 weapon in each hand. The primary weapon and secondary weapon have to be of different sizes. So your primary weapon could be a long sword. Your secondary weapon has to be smaller and lighter. So like a short sword or a dagger. Now, you could always use 2 daggers if you wanted to, or similarly sized weapons, but you can't use like 2 long swords, for instance. If you're wearing studded leather or lighter, you fight without penalty. Because typically, or if you're wearing heavier than studded leather armor, you can still fight with 2 weapons, but you're going to have a -2 penalty to your primary hand and a -4 penalty to your offhand. Your stats and magical enchantments can influence this, but they're not going to bring it to a bonus. It'll always be a 0. However, if you're wearing studded leather or less, or lighter, I should say, you can get that bonus +1, +2 for high stats and for magical bonuses. Rangers also gain the ability to track. This is a free non-weapon proficiency. They don't need to spend any slots on it. And every 3 levels they get in there, they get an additional +1 to their checks. So level 1 through 3, everything's going to be fine, normal. It's just going to be their check. But once they get 3rd through 5th level, they're going to have a +1 bonus to their check. 6th through 8th, they're going to get a +2 bonus, etc. and so forth. When they're wearing studded leather or lighter armor, Rangers will also get the ability to hide in shadows and move silently. This is locked per level. You do not get additional discretionary points to spend on this. So starting at level 1, you get a 10% to hide in shadows, 5% to move silently. Now, your dexterity, your species, and the armor you're wearing can influence those numbers. So you're going to need to consult the chart in the thief section to see if that goes up or down depending on species, dexterity, and armor that you're wearing. And we'll look at that in more detail when we get to the thief class specifically. Rangers are also have a ability to deal with trained and untamed creatures. So these are for as far as tamed domestic creatures, they can walk up to any dog, cat, house bird, and it's going to react positively to the Ranger. They're going to be able to scratch its ears. It's going to be happy to see the Ranger. An attack dog, a guard dog, a wild bear. These things a Ranger can approach on their own and force a saving throw versus rod. If the animal fails that saving throw, their reaction shifts 1 in the positive for the Ranger. So if it's threatening, like it's ready to come at you and attack, and you force that saving throw, the Ranger is successful, it's not going to attack you anymore. it's going to be pretty suspicious of you, but it ain't going to be attacking you. And the ranger can continuously devote an action per round to try and influence that better until it's positive, or they can just be like, okay, hey, this is good enough. Let's get past this creature. This came into play last week during our game where there was a black bear on the trail and Bran was able to approach it, force the saving throw. The black bear reacted positively to him and he was able to shoo it off of the trail, and the party was able to get past it without having to fight the black bear. So very handy in those wilderness situations. Rangers are also going to be able to learn how to cast priest spells. Now, where a paladin starts learning them at level 9, the ranger learns their first spell at level 8. Rangers can cast up to 3rd level priest spells. Rangers in 2nd edition are also considered divine spellcasters. So they get their spells by praying to a nature deity. That means they qualify for the additional spells per day that a high wisdom score would normally give a cleric or a paladin. So after you've met your minimum requirements to qualify for a ranger, keep in mind what kind of ranger you want to play. Do you want to be one that focuses more on those spells when you do get them available? Do you want to focus more on that hiding in shadows, move silently? Or do you just kind of want to lean into that, big, strong, burly mountain man who can take a bunch of damage and push out a bunch of damage? Rangers also attract followers like a fighter does, but not as many as a fighter does. So at 10th level, the ranger rolls 2d6, and then they, over time, will attract followers. You roll a D100 and consult the table that you see here. There are additional tables for this in the Complete Ranger's Handbook, but this is the one you get in the Player's Handbook. If you get something like a brownie, which has an asterisk in it, that means you can only have one brownie. So if it pops up, you re-roll and you get the next selection. Some of these followers are quite potent. As you can see, you could have a werebear or weretiger. You could have a treant. You can even have an elven fighter mage. The followers for a ranger are pretty nice, even though you don't get as many as a fighter does. Something else that rangers get, and it would be their hated species. Now, this is something that pops up at 2nd level. What you do is you pick a specific type of creature, and you hate them. When you fight them, you get a bonus +4 to your attack rolls. This is in addition to any magical bonuses for your weapons or high attribute bonuses you would get for strength or dexterity. The trade-off here is there is a -4 penalty in order to try to interact with any of those creatures in a way that's other than fighting. So if you have a group and you're trying to negotiate with some orcs and your ranger took orc as your species enemy, well, the ranger's going to have a real hard time controlling themselves, and that's represented by that -4 reaction adjustment. So when you roll in the reaction table, there's just a better chance for those creatures to react hostilely to the ranger. It's a good idea to leave the ranger at home or have them wait outside if you're going to be interacting with their species enemy. But that has been our look at the ranger. It's a fun, neat class. I think that they're one of my favorites in 2nd edition. I have a buddy of mine that played one for many years, and he could tell you quite a few fond stories of his ranger. But let me know what you think about the ranger in the comments below. If you could, though, and you found this video informative or you liked it, if you could hit that like and subscribe button, it does a lot for us here at this channel. It pushes these videos out to more people so they get to see them and helps us grow our community here. Now, keep in mind, we are continuing our Night Below campaign. This is releasing on a bi-weekly basis on Monday evenings. We're continuing our Welcome to Capiterra Fabula Ultima game with Steve as the storyteller on bi-weekly Saturdays. I know we've been on a bit of a hiatus from that lately, but we are picking that back up, I promise. And we're continuing our dives into the Fabula Ultima classes and the different rule systems that are found in that game as well. So, thank you so much for joining us. I look forward to seeing you all in the next video, where we're going to be starting our look at the rogue classes of Thief and Bard. As always, have a great evening. Take care.